Thursday. First of all, this is the Zurvita Pledge Community Chat. It's going to happen every Thursday, and it's your chance to really have some one-on-one time with Peter and the rest of the Zurvita Pledge community. So with that said, Peter, take it away.
Great. Well, I first want to say Happy New Year to everyone. And I truly feel humbled to be a part of this amazing been at our Zurvita Fest last week. It was extraordinary. It was legendary. And lives were changed when we were on stage, truly introducing the Zurvita Pledge. It touched me, and I've been doing this, transforming lives, for over 25 years. And what I like to first do is for people that are just getting on, maybe for the first time, and I put this on my social media as well, whether you've seen me on television, radio, or know me through Zurvita, I want to just explain what the Zurvita Pledge is really all about. And, you know, we've heard so much about 90-day challenges, and a lot of people get intimidated and they get scared. And before you know it, it's like they literally fall off of the bandwagon. Here we are, the first month of a new decade. And so many of us put so much pressure on ourselves. Do you know, statistically speaking, 90% of people will fail the first 90 days, the first 3 months of 2020. And I don't want any one of us to be a statistic. And we put so much burden on ourselves. And one of the beautiful things about this Zurvita Pledge is the intimacy of even what we're doing right here. Every week when you have access to say, you know, the hills, the valleys, the detours of your week, and share it, it really exposes other people to possibly things that you've been through. So what we decided, you know, and this is, as I said to Julian, this is almost a 10-year process of getting to this point with Zurvita, is that we feel we want to give you the tools and the support to truly get unstuck, to move forward, to be that better version of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. So the Zurvita Pledge is really making a declaration, making a commitment to yourself and to our Creator, to truly be that better version of yourself, to be the best that you can be. And it doesn't just mean on a fitness standpoint. It could be just making better choices in your life. It could be breaking an addiction. It could be getting out of a bad relationship. It could be just being more present with your family so that you feel more comfortable in your skin. And this is bigger than all of us put together, because I feel this will not only change the culture of Zurvita, but it will change the culture of how you look at your life. And the Zurvita Pledge is, once you go to, and how you could, for people that want to learn more information, is go to zurvita.com/pledge. And you'll basically be walked through. There's some videos. I will be explaining. You'll be able to literally take that pledge. You'll be able to then just press send, and then you'll be invited to an exclusive group on Facebook that each and every week we're going to be doing Facebook Live. I'm going to be helping put individual macronutrient meal plans and exercise programs. And then each week we're going to have literally this Zoom at this specific time every Thursday. There'll also be a motivational Monday. See, what I've learned, you know, owning health clubs my entire life, and dealing with and training, whether it's physically challenged people or professional athletes, is that the common denominator of people failing, regardless on how successful or how genetically blessed you are, is that you got to get out of your own head. You got to change that mindset. You got to speak and prophesize positivity, because what you say today, good or bad, you're prophesizing tomorrow. And if you don't see a clear picture, if you don't believe in your own stuff, so to speak, who the heck is going to believe in you, and how are you going to accomplish what you've always wanted to accomplish? you know, I've been diagnosed with an incurable disease. Many of you know Crohn's disease. And what I will say is that the doctors told me I wouldn't live to 25. I've had 2 near-death experiences. I was literally gone, flatlined, gone. And only by God's grace and his favor and a good pair of defibrillators and an 8-hour surgery, I'm here and I'm on fire to help people like yourself. There is no perfect person. So the Zurvita pledge is really making that, and I call it a commitment, but if you take that word commitment out and you substitute it with a covenant, we use that in something called matrimony, something that there is no plan B. Failure is supposed to be not an option, because if there is a plan B, 9 times out of 10, you're going to use it. So when you make that covenant between yourself and truly say, you know, I'm tired of being tired. I'm going to put my foot in the sand. I'm going to draw that line, and I am going to truly make an effort to learn and to grow and to heal and to love and to trust and to forgive. It's a beautiful thing. And what I want to do is I would love to open this up to just a few people that have been on stage. You know, we started with 12 people, and the vision is to test this. And not only did, out of those 12 people, not only did we lose, you know, almost 200 inches, but we lost almost 200 pounds of excess body fat. But more importantly, I feel like those 12 people got their life back, got a new lease on life. They're on fire. And for people that were at our Zurvita Fest on Friday night, they touched my life, because listening to them become unstuck, listening to them shine his light and have hope again and believe in themselves again was a beautiful thing. So the only family that we actually had in these 12 people were Chris and Sarah. And I think that we have Chris and possibly Sarah on the phone. And Chris, if you're there, what I would love is if you could just say a few words on where you were and what you thought about this pledge and where you are now and how you're feeling.
Well, thanks for having me on, Peter. I don't have my video on. You're just going to have my audio, I think. But well, it's just myself. Sarah's not out here right now, but we enjoyed the pledge. Sarah and I, you know, for the life, our entire life have been really overweight. The last 7-8 years or so have been worse. Both of us have let our health really get out of control. And we needed something different. We had tried the transformation contest that we had in the past for a free cruise or free this. And, you know, it didn't seem that we had all the ingredients together, and something special and magical happened with this pledge. Even in the word, the pledge, the commitment level, there was ships burnt behind us, if you will, to use an analogy from this weekend.
Yes.
It was just kind of a do or die. There was no option. We knew this was the time to shine and the time to change our life. Sarah's down close to 30 pounds. I'm down close to 50 pounds. Our family as a whole are down 100 pounds since October 1st. And the support and from you and Adriel and as well as the community we built, the Dirty Dozen, I think is what you call it. It was just a magical thing, and we can't wait to share it with everybody else.
You know, I appreciate you sharing, and I will say on those the Dirty Dozen, I look at it as you know, disciples, you know, and disciples are not you know, are not supposed to keep that information in, but actually spread it to the world. And the beautiful thing is that discipleship, on paying it forward, really what we're all about with Zurvita is hearing each one of your stories, your testimonies. I have gotten literally over 110 inboxes just since last week on people just saying on how your story and, you know, Patty's story and Scott's story and Joel's story and so many people's stories, they resonated with self, with that person. And that's the beautiful way that this, I call it the X factor, the intangible, the miracle in truly loving on each other. Because we get on a conversation here, and the next thing you know is someone is opening up because they're vulnerable, and the next thing we're talking about is something totally different that we were supposed to talk about. So I thank you, Chris, for believing again and for truly being the head spiritually in your family. And it has just been a joy to watch the both of you. What I love to do is I love to hand it over to Joel. Joel truly, you know, has got a background in nutrition and sports science, and but he really was just on fire on getting into this, and he's been doing this for most of his life. So Joel, seeing you and having you a part of this was a joy to me. Can you just share, you know, some of your experience, because you know so much of this, but why was this Zurvita pledge different?
Well, you know, first of all, thank you, Peter. You know, I think the challenge for any of us is accountability. And, you know, it's one thing to teach, and it's one thing to, you know, it's one thing to train people on it. But when you actually get down and make the commitment to yourself that you're going to be accountable to a group of people, and, you know, accountable to another coach, and you actually start writing stuff down, and you can see where the gaps are, and you can see where the progress is. And, you know, that part of the system for me was a life changer. You know, I can't tell you the number of people I've coached, but to coach myself, isn't necessarily the easiest thing, because, you know, you get busy and you get all of the craziness and all that kind of stuff. And you don't actually get to doing it yourself the right way. And so this was a huge part for me, was being a part of a group that had, you know, from Scott to Whitney to Shauna to, I mean, the breadth of people in the group. It was just, for me, it was that personal accountability, and, you know, what it really did was make more things in my life accountable at the same time.
You know, and I couldn't agree with you more. And you know, it was part of your idea about, you know, taking our transformation system and, you know, changing 10,000 lives. And, you know, what I will say is about our products is that when you start feeling good from the inside, then you want to truly work out. You want to truly improve self. And when you plug in like the transformation system that has, you know, our zeal and the burn and protein, the building block to muscle, and all of this, it just truly maximizes the potential of success to keep you plugged into being that best version of yourself. And that's why they both align. I mean, think about it, 60 to 70% on how you look and how you feel has to do with what you put in this little circle called your mouth. You know, you could work out until you're blue in the face, and diddly is going to happen if you're not diligent at the breakfast, lunch, and dinner table. So that's why it's so important that when you join our Zurvita pledge at zurvita.com/pledge, I want you to do that. I challenge each and every one of you to do that now, to do that today. You're going to truly get a program that's specific for you. You're going to know how many calories you should be having to facilitate lose excess body fat or to gain muscle. You're going to know your macronutrients, which are protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And you're going to know on how many grams of protein, how many grams of carbohydrates, how many grams of fat. And it's a numbers game. And you know, if your blood work is fine and you don't have a thyroid, a pituitary problem or anything, then it's not rocket science. If you truly follow this program, if you exercise, if you're, you know, disciplined at the breakfast, lunch, and dinner table, if you plug into what I'm telling you to plug into with our transformation system, our sports performance line, then it is going to get you to where you want to be. And The unfortunate thing, but in my opinion, it's not unfortunate, is that, you know, when you first start working out, the first thing that you're going to experience is what you feel. You're going to start feeling good from the inside out. Same thing with our zeal. You're going to have more clarity, more energy, more focus. And everybody wants to see something in the mirror. You know, everybody does. And that will take a few weeks. But like, you know, I was wrong with the numbers. My vice president of marketing, she texted me, and Edith, and she's been a big part of this. And she said, Peter, you were wrong. We lost way more than that. And the group of 12 people lost 366 pounds and 187.75 inches. That's mind-boggling. So, you know, I mean, that is so successful. There was someone that, you know, long story short is that I got a phone call from somebody that seemed like they were somewhat of a stalker. and I say this with love, and they weren't. They were trying to get help for their brother, and his name is Jeff Spears. So he said, my brother is over 650 pounds. He hasn't left his home for almost 2 years. He's going to die, and can you help? So I was walking into a grocery store, and when I came out, I just felt the spirit of our living God say, you don't need to know all the answers, but you need to help this man. You need to be obedient. You need to, and I didn't have all the answers. So I get hundreds of phone calls a week, and I just felt I needed to be obedient. I got a three-way with Jeff. He introduced me to his brother, Scott. And I heard Scott's heart. I heard his spirit. I heard his desperation that if he didn't do something, he was going to die. And that's when I felt led to invite him into this Zurvita pledge. Scott had literally the kitchen sink. The enemy wanted to take him out, did not want to give him the opportunity. But we serve a very mighty God, and through him taking a train that he had to lay down for almost 2 days to get to our Zurvita convention, his wife left him the first month that we started this Zurvita pledge. Part of his house went on fire, and this man didn't have food in his house. I say that because the wildest, most amazing thing is that when God is in the middle of this, no man can truly shut a door that God opens. He will take the crooked and make it straight. And if it's going to give him the glory, he will win every time. And Scott, he believed. He didn't see it fully, but he had faith that he walked in this. He got on the stage on Friday night, and I'm telling you, his testimony was so strong. I have him with us right now. And Scott, I just want to say that it's been a joy getting to know you. And I love you. You know that. You're stuck with me as a friend for life. And I just want you to just share for a moment or two on what this Zurvita pledge has done to you and where you were before it started, and how do you feel today?
Oh, wow. I want to say first, I love you too, Peter. Where I was before this started. Wow. That would take more time than we have. I was 650 pounds. My fluid weight, it varies 50 pounds at a time. You know, day to day goes up 10, 20 pounds, down 10, 20 pounds. So, I mean, I'm sure there were days I was as high as 700. But generally walking around weight would be 650. And the only times I was able to leave the house would be to go to church, to go to the grocery store. And every day I would leave the house, I would need a day in bed just to recover. And I'm still recovering from the trip. It was rough, but it was worth it. It was so worth it.
What does it mean to you to be able to get on stage and to not only, it's one thing, many people, I say this with love, many people lose 100 pounds or so or whatever, but what does it mean to you to be able to speak life into other people? I always say that if we get out of our own way, God will allow us to teach what we've always wanted to learn. And in my opinion, you, as well as I, when I was growing up being sick and abused and stuff, I was hopeless. And you were in a hopeless situation, and now you're kind of getting into the hope business. How does it feel to be on the road to recovery?
I had no idea just how much my story was going to impact people. I've told people already, I kind of feel like a fraud a bit. I've lost 100 pounds, but I've lost the easiest 100 pounds of anybody in this group. I've lost from 650 to 550, big deal. I'm still in trouble if I stop now, and the next 100 pounds are going to be harder. And the 100 pounds after that are going to be even harder. And the 100 pounds after that are going to be even harder. I understand what I've lost is significant, but it blows my mind how much people are responding to this. And
what would be the take home message that you would tell the people right now?
You can do it. Having a group of people there when the enemy strikes at you, when things start to fall apart and you start doubting yourself and you start thinking, it'd be a lot easier to just give up on all this. Every time I had one of those days, it seemed like it was right there in time for a Zoom meeting. And I would have Peter or somebody else lift me up and explain to me, you may have made a mistake, but it was just a mistake. It was just one thing, I think back to the time I ate a bag of candy corn. I thought I'd blown my whole diet. And Peter just, he was stern, but he was very, very reasonable about it. He said, it's in the past. You can't relive it. You got to move forward. And that was something that I was just having so much trouble with that day, and that's just one incident. And it seemed like every Thursday I had a new problem, but just having those people there to support you it's everything.
Well, I appreciate you sharing, and I'm excited to, as well as many people, thousands of people have reached out and read a couple of things that we wrote, and it's given them hope. And I appreciate you being transparent and truly giving yourself another chance at life. And I want to turn this over quickly to Patty Carson. And I got a chance to know so many of you on an intimate basis by being on this. And I know that you've been through many storms, Patty, and if you could just share with this group and people that have never even heard of Zurvita, for the first time, quickly on just, from day one to not knowing what this was to where you are now.
You mean day one from the pledge?
Yes.
Okay, well, when they offered the pledge to me, I was in just a broken place, very, very broken. I am I've had a lot of storms, just as you said, in the last 3 years especially, and then this 2019 was like horrific to me. And when they gave me the call, it was like, I was honored, but at the same time, I thought, well, everybody was just kind of feeling sorry for me and just trying to pop me back in here, get me engaged. And a lot of this was mindset for me, to be able to, you know, pick myself back up again. And it has been the most you know, I'm honored that I got put in this. I told Peter, you know, it's like, we are out there, you know, as an ambassador, you know, a lot of times people don't realize we all go through things, but I felt like I didn't have anything to offer to anybody anymore. And kind of probably got into some kind of pity party of somewhat, and was just kind of stuck in a bad place. And the accountability calls, I mean, I think it was like the second week we started doing these, it was like, oh my gosh, I know why I'm here now. And, you know, that pity party just started, you started listening, everybody's got stuff. Everybody has junk. And I would listen to everybody's story, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm glad, you know, you don't want other people's problems either. You know, it's like, you don't want to go what they go through, but watching, you know, everybody, you know, Scott, Chu, Eduardo, Chris, everybody, Shauna, Adria, listening to everybody share their heart. Peter, like you said, we would say something and it would lead down a road into something that was supposed to be said. And just to be able to share our hearts with each other and know, you know, where we were. And it just gave me hope again. And Peter, you know, we talked about, you know, going to bed with a grateful heart, just count everything you're grateful for. And that's what I just started doing, was just thinking about the grateful things. And it, like, this pledge and everything just turned my whole mindset around. And you know, it's like Peter knows, I was like sick most of this, but I just think whenever we go, you know, Scott said every Thursday, I think when you go to do something, a lot of times we get attacked, you know, just to see our endurance. And I went back to my very beginning when I got in Zurvita. I would say every single morning, I'll be here a year from today. I'd get up out of bed and say, I'll be here a year from today. And the pledge was exactly the same for me. You know, I pledge, it was a promise to myself. So,
you know, and I want to thank you, and I want to just expound on what you just said for a moment to each and every person that's listening. I've heard every excuse under the sun on why people don't exercise, why they don't come to health clubs, why they don't get into a relationship, why they don't look for a new job, why they don't get out of a toxic relationship. And what I will say is after watching Scott, where his house almost burnt down, and where his wife, who he loved more than the oxygen he was breathing, just said, I'm done, and ended up leaving for someone else. There is no right time. And you need to dig deep and make that commitment, make that declaration, make that pledge today. Because for many people, tomorrow, sunrise never comes. So there are excuses for everything, but if you want it bad enough, if you love yourself enough, if you feel worthy enough, which you are, make this Zurvita pledge today. It can change the course of your life. And there's never a time that I got up in the morning and said, okay, you know, I am going to just be ready to get the flu today, or I am going to be ready to just have a Crohn's attack, or I'm going to be ready to be betrayed and have someone walk out of my life. It doesn't work that way. And that's why, you know, when you have that support, when you have that connection, when you can lean on someone, I mean, I'm strong, but even the coach needs to be coached. You know, we all need to be coachable. The biggest thing I learned at being a half a century old is I know a whole lot less than I thought I did. And when you're like a sponge, you can receive it. When you're like a stone and you're callous is when things roll off of you. So I want to end with just one final person, Chewy. And I was watching some of his videos, and he's up in the mountains, he's on the trails, he's sweating. And this man took the pledge and he also has made this amazing transformation. And what I saw with Chewy is I saw this self-worth, I saw this belief system, I saw this faith being born in him, where when I asked him, you know, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to be the best version of myself, and then I want to help people do the same thing. And that's living with purpose. So I hand it over to you, Chewy, who I love, and I really admire your focus, your honesty, your discipline, and how has this pledge been different for you in what you're doing and what you've been doing?
Peter, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, first of all, I mean, thank you very much for the opportunity. Like always, you know, I'll be thankful forever because I was always asking myself, you know, what was I born for? You know, I'm pretty sure whenever they were making me, I was made for something. You know, it was just like, oh, okay, there you go. From Chewy goes to there, and that's it. You know, I feel like I was made for something, you know, something different, something better, greater. So, but I didn't really knew what it was. So, you know, doing this pledge, just taking that decision, just taking the decision by eating a little different, taking all the products, because I mean, sometimes it's hard. Don't take me wrong. I mean, sometimes it's like, can I just have some tacos? Can I just have like some regular food, you know, instead of like, you know, healthier food? Don't get me wrong, it's good, but us fluffy guys, I mean, we do want something a little different sometimes, you know? So I was really, really interested about, I mean, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, but I was really interested in doing something a little different, something that I can bring hope and light to somebody else's lives, besides just making money and putting money in their pocket, you know? Because at the end of the day, I mean, that.
I think we lost him. Are
Can
you
you hear me
there?
now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. I was saying that, I mean, this opportunity has really, really been amazing. It's it kind of like give me something else to, like a little bit of hope, you know, that I can bring light into somebody else's life, that I can actually inspire somebody else. I mean, doing it at the beginning, it was just like, I mean, more like the business part, you know. I mean, it wasn't really about the products, to be honest with you. But then I was like, if I want to make something different, if I want to make something solid, why not help people out if it's going to help me? So we just started taking the products, and being on stage is really something that it was my goal. Now I don't really care anymore, but it was one of the goals that it made me go at it. You know, it made me it healthier. It made me go do exercise. So, I mean, I was just pretty amazed with the opportunity, and it's been great.
Well, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate the journey that you're on. And what I leave with this, with each and every one of you, is that if there's something on the inside, if there's something that's nudging you, if you're going around that same mountain, if you're rereading that same chapter in your life, you know, the most beautiful thing is that really, if you say you can or can't, you're right. And you have that pen to rewrite this next chapter. And all you have to do, in my opinion, is truly, first of all, find your reasons why. And those reasons why need to be so much greater than your fears, so much greater and bigger than your failures. And once you have your reasons why, those reasons why will get you up in the morning. And it could be the littlest thing, or it could be something monumental. And once you have that reason why, then you truly need to have a mind shift. Because when you change things on the inside, everything will change. You'll get your health out of the gutter. You'll get your finances, your family out of the gutter. If you change everything on the outside and you think you're faking everyone else out, you're not faking yourself out, and you will go around that same mountain. You will reread the lowlights of your life and believe your own junk. So you need to leave that junk behind. It's a new year, it's a new day, it's a new decade. And we have this amazing Zurvita pledge that I want you to look into. And I'm going to say this to each and every one of you, and some of you know me personally, and some of you just know me through TV or radio, but it's like, you're either in or you're all out. That's how I rock and roll. It's either I got to believe it. I don't care how many zeros are on the end of a check. I don't care how great it looks or smells or tastes. If I don't believe it, I can't live it. So I want you to go to Zurvita.com/pledge. And I want you to go through it. And if it resonates with you, I want you to sign up. And if you sign up, then something on that inside, in your soul, wants to truly enrich your life. Then be all in. And we will give you the support. We will give you the tools, literally on a daily basis. Because we go through life like a vapor. And as I mentioned before, we're always saying, I should have, I would have, I could have, I'll do it next week, Peter. You know, it's too hot. It's that time of the month. I got a headache. I got 3 kids. I can't afford it. No more excuses. If you truly want to be the best in 2020, then let's get this done. We have it for you right here, right now. So I thank each and every one of you. See a lot of people on here. And I just want to say that we only get one shot at this. The average person lives 80 years. That's 29,200 days. And if you're 50 years old, you have less than 9,500 days. But who's counting? And that's if you're blessed and you live to 80. And my point is this, is that time waits for nobody. So what are you doing with your time? Are you maximizing it or are you wasting it? We get this little thing called life that I believe with all my heart is our gift from our Creator. What you do with it is your gift back to Him. Let's maximize it. Let's get better together. Let's do it now. Go to Zurvita.com/pledge. And I'll be there every step of the way. God bless each and every one of you.
All right. Guess that's it. Thank you for joining, everyone. And don't forget, as Peter said, go to Zurvita.com/pledge. Make sure you register, sign your people up. And after you register, visit the Zurvita Facebook group and tell us your reason why. And be on the lookout for #Motivational Mondays every Monday. We'll have something special on Tuesdays, fitness and workout tips. On Wednesdays, share your Wednesday wins. What have you accomplished for the week? On Thursdays, we'll be having our community chats. And on the weekends, we'll share product knowledge and tips and meal prep ideas. So we have lots of good content and information for everyone in the pledge. So thanks for joining us and see you guys next week.